The galaxy battlefield was a dark and broken place. Ships floated like dead metal ghosts. Smoke and fire drifted between shattered planets. Every alien fleet aimed its weapons at the center of the war zone. They waited for the next attack. They waited for the next victim. Then something strange happened. Sensors across all alien ships began beeping at the same time. A single dot appeared on their radar. Small, slow, and alone. Commanders leaned forward in confusion. "Is that a human warship?" one alien captain asked. Another laughed loudly. "A single human ship in a battlefield like this? Impossible." But the reading did not vanish. The dot kept coming closer. Steady, calm, fearless. Across the war zone, alien communication channels buzzed with jokes. One human ship? They must be lost. Maybe they want to surrender. Humans are weak. But inside those jokes, something else was growing. A tiny seed of fear. Because no normal ship would enter this battlefield alone. No sane captain would fly straight into a death zone. The human warship slowly came into view. It was black, smooth, and silent, like something made to disappear into space. Its energy signature was strange. Not weak, not strong, but unknown. Alien scanners could not read it. Every reading came back as an error. Alien commanders began to worry. What kind of human ship is that? No identification code. No weapon type. No shield pattern. Everything about the human ship was hidden. Everything felt wrong. The human ship moved right between two massive alien fleets. Thousands of weapons turned toward it instantly. The aliens waited for the ship to stop or to turn back. But the human warship kept moving forward, like it owned the battlefield. Then a human voice came through the open channel. Calm, cold, and confident. "This is Captain Rylan of the human warship Horizon. Step aside." Silence spread across the battlefield. Alien crews froze in disbelief. Who enters a war zone and tells enemies to step aside? Who talks like that in front of hundreds of hostile fleets? The alien commanders shouted with anger. How dare a human speak like this? Destroy them. Fire everything. But one alien officer trembled. "Sir, something is wrong." "What do you mean?" "The human ship, its power is rising." "Rising?" "Yes, sir. Not like normal shields, not like normal weapons, something different." Before the aliens could react, the human ship released a soft blue light. Not an attack, just a wave of energy brushing across the battlefield. Alien scanners blinked, glitched, and died. All systems failed for 1 second. Only 1 second, but that 1 second felt like a warning. A reminder that this ship was not normal. Not weak, not stupid, but something else, something advanced, something dangerous. The alien fleets panicked. What is that technology? No human ship can do this. Are we facing a new human weapon? Captain Ryland spoke again, his voice steady. You attacked the wrong species. You push humanity too far. Now we respond. The aliens aimed thousands of cannons at the human warship, but no one fired. No commander wanted to be the first, because deep inside their hearts, they felt something they had never felt before when facing humans. Fear. The human warship Horizon stopped in the middle of the battlefield. Its engines hummed softly. Its hull shimmered with blue light. Every alien soldier watched it, waiting, waiting fast, preparing for the worst. Because whatever this human ship was, it had entered the war zone with purpose, with confidence, with power, and the galaxy was about to change forever. The alien fleets stared at the human warship Horizon. It floated calmly in the center of the battlefield, silent, glowing, and unmoving, like a beast waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Alien commanders finally gave the order they were afraid to give. Fire. Thousands of laser beams, plasma bolts, and missile trails cut across the darkness. The entire war zone lit up with deadly colors. Every weapon the aliens had was launched at the small human ship. A storm of destruction raced toward Horizon. But the ship did not move. Not an inch. Not a shift. Not a reaction. Alien soldiers cheered. It is over. No ship can survive that. But then the cheering stopped. The explosions around the human warship faded into smoke, and Horizon remained untouched, perfect calm and still glowing. All attacks had dissolved inches before touching the hull. It was as if the ship was covered in invisible armor. Not a shield, not a barrier, something else, something more advanced, something the aliens had never seen. What just happened? An alien admiral whispered. Another commander shouted in panic. Impossible. No technology can do that. But every scanner repeated the same truth. The human ship was unharmed. Inside Horizon, Captain Ryland stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes watched the battlefield without fear. He spoke calmly to his crew. They fired first as expected. Prepare the Halo system. Every crew member froze for a moment. The Halo system was dangerous, unstable, unpredictable. They had never used it in a real war. But Ryland's voice was steady. We do not have a choice. Outside, alien fleets regrouped quickly. Fire again, one commander shouted. Use heavy cannons. Use warheads. Use everything. But before they could fire, they saw something terrifying. A bright ring of white-blue energy forming around the human warship. It started small, like a glowing halo above the ship. Then it expanded outward, rotating slowly, humming with power. Alien scanners began failing instantly. Readings turned to static. Energy meters broke. Warning alarms echoed everywhere. Unknown technology detected. System failure. Retreat. But it was too late. The Halo system activated fully. The rings spun faster and faster. The light grew brighter. Space itself seemed to bend around Horizon. Alien captains felt something they had never felt in a battle. Pressure, fear, hopelessness. One alien whispered, "This is not a warship. This is a superweapon." Silent energy spread from the Halo like a wave across water. No explosion, no sound, no fire, just a smooth, invisible sweep. And everything it touched began to crumble. Alien ships closest to Horizon instantly aged. Their metal rusted and cracked. Their hulls turned to dust that drifted away in silence. Entire fleets disappeared within seconds. No flames, no debris, just dust, like they were never there. Alien soldiers screamed, "Stop it! Retreat! Turn back!" But their ships were already breaking apart. Only a few fleets far from the Halo wave survived, but even they trembled in terror. What kind of humans build this? How do humans get this power? We should have never attacked them. The battlefield was now half empty, half silent, half erased. Captain Ryland watched the destruction with a hard expression. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He simply whispered, "They wanted a war. Now they will see it." The Halo ring dimmed slowly, its light fading but its threat still alive. Alien fleets stepped back, unsure whether to run or fight. Horizon floated alone again. One ship, one captain, one impossible weapon. The galaxy now understood one thing. Humanity had changed. The war had changed, and nothing would ever be the same again. The battlefield was still shaking from the first Halo wave. Dust clouds floated where alien warships once stood. The entire war zone felt empty, silent, terrified. Every surviving alien ship kept its distance. Not a single commander dared to move forward. They watched the human warship Horizon with wide eyes, as if it were a monster, a sleeping giant, a weapon beyond understanding. Inside Horizon, warning lights flashed across every console. The ship had taken no damage, but the Halo system was unstable. Energy levels were rising too fast. The crew had never pushed the system this hard. Captain Ryland stood calm in the command center. He watched the scans. He watched the alien fleets rearrange themselves far away. They were terrified, but fear makes enemies unpredictable. He knew the next attack would be desperate, and desperate enemies are dangerous. "Status on the Halo system," Ryland asked quietly. His chief engineer replied, "Sir, the system is overheating. If we fire it again too soon, the ship may break." Ryland nodded slowly. He already expected this, but he also knew the truth. They could not retreat now, not with the enemy still preparing for another massive strike. Far away, the alien commanders argued loudly. We must attack now. No, we must retreat. If we run, humanity will hunt us. But if we fight, we will die. Panic spread like fire through their fleets. One commander slammed his fist on the console. We cannot let one human ship humiliate the galaxy. We must show our strength. Lose or win, we fight. The alien fleets moved into formation. Hundreds of ships gathered their remaining power. Massive cannons glowed bright red. Missile bays opened. Plasma reactors charged. A message was sent to Horizon. Human Captain, you will not leave this battlefield alive. Captain Ryland listened silently. No fear in his eyes. No worry in his voice. He simply answered, You already fired once. It did not help. The aliens ignored the warning. They unleashed their full force. A second storm of destruction raced across the battlefield. The firepower was 10 times stronger than the first attack. The space around Horizon burned with energy. But again, the human ship did not move. Its hull glowed softly. The attack slowed as they approached the ship, then dissolved into harmless light, vanishing into nothing before they reached the hull. This time, however, something else happened. The halo ring around Horizon flickered. The light dimmed. The glow shivered like a fading flame. Inside the ship, alarms blared loudly. Captain, the system is unstable. We cannot take another attack. It will shut down. Ryland closed his eyes for a moment. Then he spoke softly. Then we strike before they do. He walked to the center of the command room, placed his hand on the activation panel, and said the words every crew member feared. Activate Halo system, full power. The crew hesitated. Sir, the ship may break apart. We might not survive. Ryland's voice was calm. But humanity will. Outside, the Halo ring exploded with light, bright enough to blind sensors across the battlefield. The ring expanded wider than before. Its rotation became a blur. Space itself twisted as the energy surged. Alien commanders felt the pressure instantly. Their ships shook as the wave formed. Panic returned. Fall back. Retreat. Move away now. But it was too late. The Halo wave burst outward with silent fury. A smooth, invisible shock that rushed across the battlefield. Ships were torn apart without explosions. Metal turned to ash. Engines crumbled into dust. Entire fleets vanished in seconds. The wave traveled farther than before. Too far. Too powerful. Inside Horizon, the crew held onto their seats. The ship groaned under the force. Panels cracked. Lights flickered, but the ship remained alive. Barely. When the light faded, when the dust settled, only a handful of alien ships remained, floating in fear, afraid to move, afraid to breathe, afraid to face the human warship again. The Halo system slowed to a stop. Its glow weakened. Horizon drifted quietly in space. Silent, dangerous, unstoppable. The galaxy had just witnessed something impossible. A single human warship had erased entire fleets, and the battle was far from over. The battlefield was quiet. Too quiet. The dust from destroyed alien fleets drifted like gray clouds around the human warship Horizon. The Halo system had stopped glowing. The ship floated with heavy breaths, like a warrior trying to stand after using all his strength. Inside Horizon, the crew struggled to stabilize the systems. Cooling units hissed. Broken panels sparked. Engineers worked with shaking hands. The ship had survived, but it was wounded, and everyone knew the enemy was not finished. Captain Ryland stood in the center of the command room, his face calm but tense. He could feel it. The silence was wrong. Too heavy. Too unnatural. Something is coming, he whispered. His crew looked at him with fear. What do you mean, Captain? Ryland pointed toward the dark void ahead. There is someone who didn't join the attack. A stronger one, as if his words summoned it. The stars in front of Horizon suddenly shifted. A ripple moved across space, like a curtain being pulled away, and then it appeared, a massive alien dreadnought. Dark, armored, ancient, 10 times the size of Horizon, covered in symbols glowing like burning fire. Its presence alone made the battlefield tremble. Alien soldiers across every surviving ship gasped in terror. It's them, the architects, the destroyers. Captain Ryland's eyes narrowed. So this was the enemy behind everything. The species that wiped out human colonies. The species that forced humanity to build the Halo system. The species the galaxy feared but never named loudly. A deep voice echoed through Horizon speakers. The dreadnought captain spoke. Cold, ancient, powerful. Human vessel, you have caused much destruction. You have killed our lesser fleets. But you will not kill us. The crew inside Horizon froze. The voice felt like it shook their bones. Captain Ryland stepped forward. His reply calm. You've attacked innocent worlds. You murdered civilians. You created this war. The alien commander answered without emotion. Humanity grew too fast. You became a threat. We simply corrected the galaxy. Ryland clenched his fists. There was the truth he always suspected. This enemy wanted control, wanted dominance, wanted fear, and humanity refused to bow. The dreadnought began charging its main cannon. A huge glowing sphere formed at the front of the ship. The energy was so intense it distorted space around it. Alien survivors fled the area instantly. They knew what was coming. A planet killer shot. A beam strong enough to erase moons. Even Horizon's Halo might not stop it. Inside Horizon, alarms screamed again. The crew reported with panic. Captain, the Halo system is still unstable. If we fired again, the ship might explode. We might not survive the blast. Ryland's voice stayed calm. I know. The dreadnought captain spoke again. You fought well, human. But now your story ends. The massive cannon fired. A giant beam of pure, white energy tore through space. It rushed toward Horizon with terrifying speed. Everything shook. The crew held onto their seats. Some closed their eyes. Some prayed. Some whispered their goodbyes. But the beam never reached the ship. A ripple of blue light burst from Horizon's hull. The last echo of the Halo system's power. It met the alien beam in the middle of the battlefield. For a moment, the two energies clashed silently. Then everything exploded into blinding light. When the light faded, the crew gasped. The dreadnought's beam had stopped. The Halo's weakened shield had blocked it. Barely, but it held. The alien commander growled. You defy destruction. You resist fate. But for the first time, his voice carried something new. Fear. Captain Ryland stared at the massive dreadnought and whispered, This is not the end. This is only the beginning. The battlefield prepared for the greatest clash of the war. The light from the blocked cannon blast slowly faded. Silence fell across the battlefield. Once more, the human warship Horizon floated in the center like a wounded beast, barely standing, barely breathing, but still alive. Across from it, the massive alien dreadnought prepared another attack. Its hull glowed with ancient symbols. Its engines hummed with monstrous power. The galaxy had never seen a ship like this. Not even in rumors. Not even in legends. Inside Horizon, the command room was filled with smoke and sparks. Engineers fought to keep the systems alive. Cooling pipes burst. Panels cracked. But the crew refused to give up. They knew humanity was watching them from far away. They knew this battle was the turning point. Captain Ryland stood tall despite the chaos around him. His uniform was torn. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were sharp, focused, determined. Status report, he asked calmly. An officer answered with fear in her voice. Sir, shields are falling. We only have 30% left. The Halo system is still unstable. One more full activation might destroy the ship. Ryland nodded slowly. It was the same answer he expected, the same answer he dreaded. Meanwhile, on the alien dreadnought, the commander watched Horizon with growing anger. This human ship should already be dead. No vessel should survive that beam. And yet they stand. The dreadnought crew worked quickly, recharging the cannon, preparing missiles, activating energy drones. They wanted to crush Horizon completely. The alien commander opened a channel. Horizon, you cannot win. Your ship is dying. Your people are weak. Captain Ryland answered with a calm and cold voice. You made one mistake. You've attacked humanity. The alien commander laughed. A deep, metallic, echoing laugh. Humanity is nothing. Your small worlds mean nothing. Your weapons mean nothing. Ryland's voice became even quieter, but stronger. Then why are you afraid? The alien commander froze. For a moment, he could not reply, because even he felt it. The fear, the pressure, the doubt. The dreadnought fired dozens of smaller cannons. Beam shot across space. Missiles tore through the airless dark. Drones raced toward Horizon like swarms of metal insects. Inside Horizon, the crew braced for impact. The ship shuddered violently as the attacks hit. Shields cracked and flickered. Alarms screamed louder. The bridge shook as sparks erupted everywhere. Captain, we can't take much more, an officer shouted. Ryland watched calmly, though his heart pounded like thunder. He turned to his crew. We need to disable their cannon. It is the only way. But, sir, the engineer argued, we don't have the power. The weapons are failing. The halo is unstable. Ryland looked at the hologram of the dreadnought. A monster in the dark. A titan forged for destruction. Then he said the words the crew feared. Prepare the halo system. Shock filled the room. Sir, it will kill us. It might tear the ship apart. Ryland lowered his voice. If we don't do this, humanity dies. The crew looked at each other, fear in their eyes, but loyalty stronger than fear. They nodded, one by one, ready to follow him anywhere. Outside, the dreadnought's main cannon charged again. Bigger, brighter, stronger. It hummed with enough power to erase a city. If that beam fired, Horizon would not survive. The halo ring around Horizon flickered back to life. Dim at first, then brighter, then burning with unstable energy. It spun slowly, struggling to stay together. The alien commander shouted, They're activating it again. They are insane. Captain Ryland raised his hand. Fire the halo. The ring exploded with light. The battlefield shook. The dreadnought's cannon blast met the halo wave. A massive collision of energy lit the dark sky. Light swallowed everything. Sound vanished. Time felt frozen. Two titans had finally clashed, and only one would survive. The explosion of light swallowed the entire battlefield. Even distant moons saw the flash. For a long moment, nothing existed except white, blinding energy. No ships, no stars, no sound. Inside Horizon, the crew was thrown from their seats. Panels burst. Wires snapped. The entire ship groaned like a living creature in pain. But it still held together. Barely. When the light finally faded, the battlefield became visible again. But everything had changed. The alien dreadnought floated ahead, smoke rising from its hull, its ancient symbols flickering like dying flames. Its cannon shattered, its armor cracked open. The halo wave had hit it hard, harder than any weapon the galaxy had ever seen. Inside the dreadnought, alien crew members screamed in panic. Systems failed. Engines sputtered. Their commander struggled to stay standing. His pride broken, his confidence shaken. This cannot be, he growled. No human weapon should hurt us this much. But the truth was in front of him. Humanity had grown stronger than anyone expected, and the Horizon had become their nightmare. Inside Horizon, Captain Ryland forced himself up. Pain stabbed through his side. His uniform was burnt. His hands were bleeding, but his eyes stayed sharp, focused on the dreadnought ahead. Status, he whispered. The officer beside him checked her damaged console. Her hands trembled. Sir, the halo is almost dead. Energy is at 3%. One more activation could destroy us. Ryland nodded. He expected worse. He looked around the room. His crew was wounded, but still standing, still loyal, still ready. The ship itself, however, was barely alive. The lights flickered like candles in a storm. The engines hummed weakly. One wrong move could tear Horizon apart. Outside, the dreadnought began charging again. Not the main cannon, but its secondary weapons. Hundreds of small beams aimed at Horizon's weakened hull. The alien commander opened a channel, his voice dry and furious. "You hurt us, human. You damaged our sacred vessel. But now you will die." Rylan listened silently, his breathing slow and steady. Then he replied, "You fear us now. You fear what humanity can become." The alien commander roared with rage. "We fear nothing. We are the architects of this galaxy." Rylan's eyes hardened. "Then let me rewrite your design." The alien fleet fired every secondary weapon they had. Beams raced across the void. Missiles launched in swarms. Plasma bolts flew like burning meteors. But the halo ring flickered again. Weak, unstable, barely glowing. "Captain," the engineer shouted, "if we use the halo again, Horizon will not survive. The ship is breaking." Rylan placed a hand on the console, his voice soft but unshakable. "Then let humanity survive. That is enough for me." The crew exchanged helpless glances. Some cried, some prayed, some clenched their fists. But not one of them refused the order. Not one of them stepped back. Outside, the dreadnought's weapons closed in. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Rylan raised his hand. "Activate the halo." The ring sparked violently. Pieces broke off. Light cracked like lightning, but still activated. The final halo wave erupted. Not smooth, not controlled, but wild, chaotic, and filled with raw power. It surged outward like a storm of blue fire, cutting through the incoming attacks, destroying missiles before they reached Horizon, turning drones into dust, breaking beams into ribbons of broken light. Then the wave hit the dreadnought. For 1 second, the massive alien ship resisted. Its armor burned bright red. Energy shields screamed. Metal warped and twisted. Then everything gave way. The dreadnought split apart, cut cleanly in half by the wave. Its massive body drifted in 2 silent pieces. Its lights fading, its engines dying. The battlefield fell silent again. The dreadnought was gone. But Horizon was collapsing. The ship flickered. Systems died one by one. The halo ring broke apart into glowing shards. Captain Rylan whispered, "Hold together, just a little longer." But even he knew Horizon was at its limit. This victory had a price, and the price was about to be paid. The battlefield drifted in silence after the destruction of the dreadnought. The space around Horizon was filled with glowing dust from broken ships. Pieces of metal spun slowly like dying stars. No alien cannon fired. No engines hummed. Everything was still. Inside the human warship, the alarms had finally quieted, not because the danger was gone, but because the systems were dying. One by one, screens went dark. Lights flickered until only emergency red glows remained. It felt like the ship was exhaling its final breath. Captain Rylan stood in the dim command room. His uniform was torn. His face was bruised, but his eyes remained focused. He watched the broken battlefield on the cracked screen. He watched the drifting remains of the dreadnought, and he whispered, "It is over." But he knew that was not true. Not yet. An officer limped toward him. "Captain," she said softly, "engines are failing. Life support is at 20%. We cannot stay here." Rylan nodded. He had expected this. The moment he ordered the final halo wave, he knew Horizon might not survive. "Prepare distress beacon," he said quietly, his voice weak but steady. "We will signal the nearest human fleet." The officer worked quickly, her fingers trembling but determined. A faint blue beacon pulse escaped Horizon's antenna. It was small, weak, barely noticeable in the vast darkness. But it was enough. Minutes passed like hours. Crew members sat on the floor, some holding injuries, some whispering prayers. some staring at the silent battlefield in disbelief. Then a faint sound echoed through the command room. A ping, soft but unmistakable, a signal from afar. Ryland turned toward the screen with hope in his eyes. A message appeared. Human fleet incoming. Hold position. The crew cheered weakly. Relief washed through the ship like fresh air. Help was coming. Humanity was answering their call. Outside, glowing blue lights appeared in the distance. Human rescue ships, human cruisers, human carriers. They appeared one after another. A rising wave of reinforcements. The alien survivors fled immediately. Their small ships turned and disappeared into deep space. None dared stay near humanity's warship anymore. Fear guided them. Fear of the Halo. Fear of humans. As the human fleet approached, one commander spoke through the channel. Horizon, this is Fleet Admiral Solara. We are here. We will bring you home. Rylan allowed himself a small smile. The first he'd shown since the battle began. Rescue ships docked with Horizon. Medics rushed aboard. Engineers hurried to stabilize the dying systems. Crew members were carried out, bandaged, exhausted but alive. Rylan was the last to leave the bridge. He walked slowly, each step heavy with fatigue. He placed one hand on the broken console, the heart of Horizon, and whispered, "You did well." When he stepped onto the rescue ship, Admiral Solara greeted him. Her eyes filled with shock and respect. "Captain," she said, "no one believed a single ship could do this." Rylan looked back at the Horizon, its hull cracked, its halo rings shattered into floating fragments, but its spirit unbroken. He replied softly, "It was never about the ship. It was about the message." Admiral Solara hesitated. "What message?" Rylan turned to her with calm, steady eyes. "That humanity will never bow. Not again." She nodded slowly. Then she spoke the words that sent chills across the entire fleet. "Captain, we received a secret transmission. Earth Command says Horizon was the first of 6. Ryland stared at her, silent, shocked. Solara continued. "Horizon was Prototype 1. Prototype 2 is already complete. Prototype 3 and 4 are under testing. And 5 and 6 will be ready soon." Ryland felt a cold wind of realization rush through him. The battle they fought was only the beginning. The galaxy had no idea what humanity had built, what humanity was becoming. He looked back at the shattered battlefield, at the broken remains of alien strength, at the silence that followed human victory, and he whispered, "A new age begins now. A new age of human power. A new age of human unity. A new age where the galaxy would never forget the name Horizon." The war was not over. It had only just begun.